So heat presses come in all forms and shapes and sizes. Like for instance the one on my left here is the convenient and most portable heat press for doing your jobs anywhere around your business. But what if I told you I have the smallest heat press I've ever used in my life with me today? Meet the Heat Press Mini. Now this has to be the smallest heat press I've ever used or seen in my life to date. Compared to the one to my left, this is absolutely small. Let's open it and see how it works. So guys, here we have it, our Heat Press Mini. Like I said before, absolutely tiny. Let's have a look inside. So we've got a nice protective foam on the inside. I see it comes with a 3-pin plug, which is nice. Here we have our manual, which I'm going to obviously read because we need to know how this thing works. And let's take this out. So I see we've got 2 different components here. Put that plastic away. Here we have our heat press itself. Oh, there's the hot plate. This is really small. Let's obviously peel off the protective covering. We don't want to get rid of that. Stick it to the outside of the box. Let's put this down. And then we have what looks like to be obviously a heat tempered surface that your heat press will sit inside. Oh, fits quite comfortably. Let's put this down and see if there's anything else inside this box. Oh, it's nice. We've got a bottle, an empty bottle. I'm not so sure what this is for. Pretty sure it'll be for, and a cloth. That is probably to clean the bottom of this surface here, which I'll read the manual and see how that goes. Alright, now that that's everything, let's put this box to one side so we can figure out how it works. But first, let me consult my manual. Now that we've plugged in our little mini heat press of ours, we now need to switch it on so we can start fiddling with our settings. So the first thing we need to do is hold down our power button. Okay, now that we see that it's on, it also indicated to us in the top corner that it was set to Fahrenheit. Now, we need it to get back to Celsius because that is our temperature mode that we want. What we need to do is hold down this button here for 5 seconds and we will have an indication that it's changed to Celsius. So let's do it. And there we go. Now it's showing the C for Celsius. Now we need to change our bottom number, which is the allotted time that we have given ourselves when we heat press. And we need to change the top one, which is our temperature of the heat press itself, which we need to change to match our printing that we're going to be doing with it. So I need to have a 7-second timer with 155 degrees, and I would like to switch on vibration, and I'm going to show you how. First thing we need to do is double tap our power button. Now that we've double tapped that, we also see our light flashing here. Now this menu will exit itself after 17 seconds of not using. So this is our plus button and our minus button. So we want to go down to 7 seconds. Now that we're done, we can double tap power button again. And that takes us to our heat setting. As you can see, it's flashing there. Now we want 155, so we use the up button. Now we can press our double button again, and now that is set. So the next thing we need to do is set our vibration. Alright, so first thing we need to do is hold down our timing button for 5 seconds to activate or deactivate our vibration mode. So let's quickly do so. Okay, as you can see, it says that it was off and it was on 0. So we've just switched it off. We actually want it on, so let's switch it back on. Hold it down for 5 seconds. And as you see, it shows 1 high F for high frequency, and now we've got that sorted. Now the next thing you need to know is how do I start my timer? So the first thing that you want to do is we've set our temperature and our time, so when you are ready to heat press, all you have to do is just push this button, and as you can hear, it might be vibrating, and now it's finished. Now that we've set up a little mini heat press, I would really like to give it a try. So I've got a shirt here next to me with a flower print, and it seems to be almost the same size as this very small heat press we've got here. So I'm going to see if I can heat press this to the shirt and see how it works with the vibration mode on and see how efficient it is. Alright, so from what I understand about these vibrating little heat presses, like we've done before, we need to keep an even pressure, and because I can see this is just, the print is a little bit too big for this, we're going to keep our pressure and just keep a circular motion so we can get heat distributed all around our print within those 7 seconds. We might need to increase the time, but let's give it a shot, shall we? So we're going to put down our heat press and we're going to start our timer. And we're going to keep our pressure equal and just going to keep moving it around slightly, and there it's finished. Now this is a cold peel vinyl, so we're going to let it cool down just before we try and give it a tug, see if we can peel it off. Alright, we've waited for this to completely cool down. Now we're going to give it a tug and see if the glue had enough time to adhere to the shirt. So let's give it a try. It clearly did have enough time to stick to the shirt because this peeled off quite easy. In terms of the sides, it's lifted a little bit, which means it just needs a second press for it to bond to the shirt correctly. So I don't know whether or not this is Teflon coated, so we're going to definitely give it a try as is to see if it's going to burn my print. If not, we're going to need actual Teflon. So let's give it a quick try. Same amount of seconds. Remember to keep your heat even, and if we do push around and keep that even heat, it will crumple up the vinyl and possibly burn it or just damage it somehow if this is not Teflon coated. If it is, it should move like butter across the surface. So let's quickly see what our results are. So we're going to put it down and start our timer, and we're just going to move around, and I'm going to stop immediately. And we can already tell that this is not Teflon coated because it burnt a hole very quickly, and it's also crinkled up my vinyl. So we definitely know that we're going to need some Teflon while using this heat press, which is not a problem because you can always go to a baking shop and get yourself a little piece of baking Teflon. It works just the same, or you can even use baking paper. That will work just as well. So we're going to try this one more time over our print with some Teflon and see if it adheres to the shirt. Obviously where it's burnt, we're not going to worry about that. That was just a test. Put our Teflon down. We're going to put this here and we're going to start our timer, and we're just going to give a good push all the way around. Okay, move that aside, take our Teflon off. Now we're going to wait for this to cool down a little bit, and then we're going to give it a good tug to see whether or not it adhered correctly within those 7 seconds. Now that this is cooled down, I can now do my actual test of stretching. Now we're going to ignore the piece where I burnt it because we're just doing a test, and I'm just going to focus on the outer rim of our flour. So ignoring this piece, we are only going to be looking around here because this is where it burnt. So we're going to give it a good tug. Okay, no, it has definitely worked. Even in the area of where it's burnt, the second time around with Teflon is now adhered correctly to our fabric, which means 7 seconds and with vibration works with a piece of Teflon. Now that I've had a chance to actually test this out, because I never thought I would be using such a heat press of this size. I mean, if you're thinking about it, this thing is rather small. And not to say that it's useless, but it has its purpose. Now I think this is a really great little heat press, especially for doing smaller items, maybe like a name across the chest, a little badge or a logo. I think this is quite handy. It comes with a really nice station to put it on, and what I felt with it being underneath, wherever I've put it at full temperature, the surface of where this actual mat was sitting underneath wasn't hot on the surface, which means it's not going to actually burn your table, which is a very good thing. I really like that. As for the actual heat press itself, I like the way that this is set up. I think these 3 buttons settings is very easy to use, and the manual was also very clear and understandable. I like the fact that I can change from Fahrenheit to Celsius quite easily. I'm not going to use Fahrenheit, but it's always a pain that you can't change it and you have to convert all the time. So I think that's a very nice thing that they've done there. And the fact that it comes with a 3-pin, even better. You've got me happy. This thing is so easy to use. I really like it.
At AM.CO.za, we have always taken pride in our products and customer service. Our Google rating represents our commitment to providing our clients with the best support possible. We have officially achieved a rating of 4.9 stars and an astounding 699 reviews for our Jet Park branch in Johannesburg at the end of 2020. Let's move our attention to our branch in Montague Gardens of Cape Town, where we have achieved a rating of 4.8 stars and an amazing 299 reviews. We would like to thank you, our loyal customers. Thank you, South Africa. AM.CO.za. Achievement matters.